people, groups, networks, I think they're essential. We're social creatures.
Yeah.
And I've never heard of one person doing it alone, ever.
No. I think that diversity thing is really powerful. One, in my experience, again, with Moshi, we look after a diverse range of clients, and there's always something new to learn from every client you work with. There's some amazing, inspiring stories of people in business that have overcome personal adversity, business adversity, but it formulates a broader understanding of the world, in my mind, from the experiences I have. And it's an opportunity to exchange information, knowledge, stories. It's like going back to that old tribal heritage that we're all a part of, where we'd sit around the campfire and share in storytelling and song and different things. It's just that the tribe has become bigger and blurrier, and maybe there are multiple tribes in there as well. And like for me, there is similar Chamber of Commerce network there. We're both in different BNI chapters, so there's a different network there as well. I've been involved in CrossFit, so yet again, there's another network of people. I think what's beautiful about all of those things is, and I'm on the board of my school that my kids go to as well. So, like across those four major networks for me, they're all different people. And there's an opportunity to build relationships with people that I wouldn't normally do. CrossFit, when you're all dying at the end of a workout and you're sucking air into your lungs on the floor. Yeah. You can be doing it with CEOs, with people who've just finished school, with men, women, different ages, races, religions. It's a beautiful way to bring unique, diverse people together and make you all realize that, do you know what? We have far more in common than we ever have in points of opposition or difference.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where I'm going with this, just waffling a little bit, but I like that stuff. I like getting to meet new people, getting to understand their perspectives, their journeys in life. How much of that stuff inspired you in the work you do up until this point here?
Oh, so much. I am a bit of a fan of Tony Robbins' work, and one of his quotes is proximity is power, right? What you're in proximity in is who you become and what you do. And when I first started out with Get Up and Grow Consulting, I hadn't been involved with the Chamber, and I didn't have BNI, and I didn't have all those networks. And so I reached out to some similar like-minded business owners who were just starting out, and we started a mastermind.
Yep.
Right? That was my first little business network that kind of was there, and it was created because of a need. So sometimes people don't have, I suppose, that understanding that you don't have to always just find something either. If it's not there, create it. You can make it. Yeah. Right? And go into that space. I'm probably, without listing them off because I'll just look like I'm an egotistical narcissist, but there's probably about 7 or 8 groups that I'm involved in, and 3 or 4 of those are probably I'm in a leadership role in those groups. Yep. And every one of them has completely different people in them. Yet I'm able to mold in there and fit in there because I just love people. And from time to time, I'll come across someone that probably I don't gel with. And in my older days, I would just go, and I'd avoid them. But now I actually sit there and I use that as self-discovery, right? Yeah. So then I sit there and go, they triggered me. Wonder why they triggered me. What is it? And usually it's because there's some similarity, let's be honest. Yep. Or there's a similarity with something else that's happened to me before. So I can go, okay, what do I need to learn from this? How can I get past this? And I use those events as my learning tools as well. But people, groups, networks, I think they're essential. We're social creatures. Yeah. And I've never heard of one person doing it alone, ever.
No. I think you nailed it there. There's often talk of self-made billionaires out in the planet and different things, and it's like, no, that's a unique narrative that maybe undersells the role of so many people that play a role. And if we're in a pure consumer material-based company that's become $1 billion company, you rely on all those people buying your product. It's that level that drives things more forward from there as well. Tony Robbins is a big brand. If anything, he might be maybe one of the, not necessarily the first person who's done the work he's done, but I think the first one who stepped out and made it popular in popular culture. Yeah. He's been around the circuit for decades. I think he became really prominent with the Jack Black movie, can't remember what it's called right now, where he just got him to think differently about things. Yeah. Are you able to delve a little bit deeper into, obviously, the work he's done, how it's influenced you, and how that's going to prime you for the future, for the impact you're going to continue to have in the world as well.
So my first Tony Robbins event was Unleash the Power Within, kind of in the middle of all COVID. He was meant to come to Australia and I really wanted to go, but I wouldn't have been able to facilitate that with resources, time off work. So ended up he was doing it online. And I'm like, I'm going to give this a shot. So I flipped and I did US time zones. So I started at 10 at night, finished at 10 in the morning, 4 days. And I was doing it more so because I was going to this line of work of helping people. And of course, you go to those programs to learn tools to help other people, right? So no, transform my life. Right. So, and I think what it is when I look at him from that subconscious perspective, that's what he's doing. A whole heap of subconscious programming on people. And he is so good at it that you walk away from there and it's like a cult. And I was actually, my husband said at the time, he said, oh, that's like a cult you're involved in. And I said, you know what, if it's a cult that is encouraging me to be the best version of me, I'm signing up.
Give me the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I'm there, right? So I think that's what he does. He creates communities. Right. So when you go to his events, you become part of Facebook communities and things like that. And I'm still now part of those and getting messages now from the people within them. So he's got it all down. He's creating networks and he's creating communities. He's got content that he's always delivering, consistent messaging, being clear and consistent with his messaging and just modeling what he does. You know, and, you know, it's all about priming. I love how you use that word because that is our life. Our life's about priming. If we get out of bed and we have something go wrong, that primes us for our day. Unless we've got the ability to go, I'm not letting that prime me. I'm going to flip it.
There's, I know for me, like when I've had, like, and you said, like you can start the day in let's just say the kids aren't great at getting ready in the morning. You have an argument with the wife or whatever. And it's just like, that's just a moment in the morning, but it's like the whole day carries on in the same way. And you're just like, oh man, I should have just got out the other side of the bed or just stayed in bed that day completely because it was just not worth what happened afterwards. There's a lot of power in intent. And this is something I've also been trying to work with myself the last 2 or 3 years. It's like, what is my intent right now? What is my intent for the day, for the week, for the month, for the year? What is the intent with the conversation I'm having with you right now as well? And I think intent and priming from what you're talking about there can align quite nicely. And for me, it might be a moment every day where I'm just sipping on my coffee, waiting to just wake up from the groggy sleep I typically have. And then it's like, all right, what is the goals for the day? What have I got to get done today? What mood am I going to bring? What energy am I going to bring to this situation as well? If we're talking about intent, what sort of intent or intentionality do you bring to the work you do and even to your everyday life and obviously the interactions that occur along the way as well?
Well, I've shifted that over time. So when I was in that corporate space, my intent was to win, and there was sometimes a win at all costs, right? So there was casualties along the way in my winning. So that's where I felt enough, and that's where I felt secure when I was achieving great things. Great for my employers because I'd burn myself out to get stuff done. And when I first started Get Up and Grow, that was my intention as well. I had these big goals that were all about winning, and it was just before the leaders event when I was presenting at that. And I remember I've got a guy that I go to that helps me keep my energy in balance, right? So I went to him and he goes, okay, what are we doing? I said, I would love you to set me up in a space where I can just read the room and give value, right? That's now my intent. So instead of me needing to shine and be showcasing and being up there, I now just want to give value. And if I can just give one bit of value, then that's success to me. And so I think that's indicative of everyone's life. We have this subconscious programming that directs us here. When we can create awareness of that, I'm lucky. I've got RTT contacts across the world, right? So I have my RTT sessions, and it's helped me adjust to be in this space now of going, hang on. And this is one of my guests on my last podcast said, success is just being authentically you. And for me, authentically me is just giving value. That's what I really love to do.
I think that authenticity is real powerful nowadays. And often if we look at influencer culture across social media, there's questions about how authentic that is. But for me, we all influence in every moment. Like this conversation right now will influence each other. And then watches this will be influenced to think and feel a certain way as well. What does authenticity mean for you on a day-to-day basis?
Authenticity means for me is just showing up on who, and probably going a bit deeper, who I am on a soul level. Like, what is my purpose here? My purpose here is to learn, to grow, to serve, in my opinion, but also to make mistakes, right, and fall over and scrape my knee, because that's part of that learning process. So authenticity for me is just knowing when I'm sitting there, I feel good about what I'm doing and where I'm at. I'm very strong on integrity and honesty and those sorts of things. So that kind of forms an alignment of it as well. But I can feel when the achiever comes in right, and drives me, and I can feel, and it doesn't feel completely good. It feels good in a competitive way. It doesn't feel good in a, how do I feel right now way. And that when you can have that calmness, but also be achieving, for me personally, that's when I feel like I'm in my authentic space.
I like that. As we wrap this up, talk about what the future looks like for you, and obviously the businesses and the things you're involved in, and any last wisdom you want to share with the audience as well, please.
So people that have been around me for a while know about my lilac Lambo. That's my future at some point. Although I've changed that a little bit now because of the way I feel. Instead of owning one, I just want to have, I've got a milestone I'm going to hit, and then I'm going to have a photo shooting one.
Very cool.
Right, because I feel like it's not going to be practical. But some of the clients I'm working with at the moment are more in that, the ripple effect, in that leadership psychology program. I'm really lucky. I'm actually attracting clients that have curiosity. And that think outside the box and that are really open-minded, and that's my ideal client. So I'm working more in that space. Hoping to continue my podcast. I'm thinking of adjusting that a little bit, so watch this space.
I look forward to that.
And then just working on my individual services. And I think I would love to try and bring to the corporate space more connection with self and connection with energy. Right? Because I feel like it doesn't have to be woohoo, right? I'm really logical. I'm an auditor and a safety and a HR person background. So you can bring it in and still have that science element. But I really feel like, as well as the RTT, that's what's helped me come to where I am now. And so I'd love to try and adapt that and bring that in a little bit more as well.
I think there's some real unique emergent science around the quantum realm of things that I couldn't even try and begin to unpack for people here. And I'm nowhere near qualified or have the language skills to do so. But from my understanding, it's really, the more I try and understand about that, it's really changing how I see reality. And so much so that I have this idea that whatever's going on internally is reflected externally. So if I start my day with a bit of fear, me and the wife don't have a great start, the kids are hard work, that's going to just bleed into the rest of the day.
100%.
If I start the day, we've got good music on, there's high fives for the kids when they go to school, there's a good hug from the wife, that just bleeds into the day in a real positive way as well. And I think as a designer, I'm a curious guy as well. Like, I have to be curious for the undiscovered territory in the work that I do. But I believe, like you said, like, failure is a good thing. Like in science, it's like, if we've failed an experiment 99 times, that's success. That's 99 ways not to do this experiment. And I believe as a society, as a culture, we're very fear-driven around failure. But if we can embrace failure in life, in business, in a positive way, in corporations, where especially at that level, we probably need to maybe shake the culture up a little bit. I think these are good things for the world moving forward. I want to say thank you very much for your time this morning. For anyone who's keen to maybe work with yourself, with the work you do, and I highly recommend it, could you please share with the audience what your contact details are?
I'm on LinkedIn. I like to jump on there a fair bit, so they can contact me there if they want to have a reach out, or my website, which is getupandgrowconsulting.com.au.
Beautiful. Niomi, thank you very much for your time. And I recommend anyone who's listening, if you're in this area and you're looking to do that extra work for yourself, please engage with Niomi. She does great work. And I know for me, and my wife can attest to this, it's had a very subtle but profound impact on our lives, and certainly for me as a business owner as well. So thank you very much. Look forward to catching up down the line on a future podcast, hopefully.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Awesome.